All right, 6 o'clock. For those of y'all just joining, glad to be here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Chris Famberg. For those of you that don't know me, Brian Johnson and I have been business partners for a long time. This is a Think Great, Lose Weight webinar specifically on mindset. Because we've been doing this a long time, and you know, you can help people physically all you want, you can help people nutritionally all you want, but if you don't focus on the mind, if you don't help them in their mindset, then you never really help them at all. Because people are self-defeating, and when their head is not in the right place, nothing else seems to work out the way you want it to. So do me a favor. Turn off your cell phones or mute them, close your Facebook. Just dedicate some time, pay attention and focus. I'm going to share a couple of slides. I just want to talk to you tonight about some information that I think will empower you in your life in a whole new way. And some of this information, you can double check my facts, you can Google our features, you can talk about it, but this information is very, very valuable. And we love to share this information because it serves people so well in their lives, in their health, in their relationships, in their business. And, this information is so powerful, and that's why we're going to take it with you, right? So, I'll get started right now. So, this is Think Great Nutrition is the name of the company right now. Brian Johnson and I have been doing this for combined time of well over 30 years. And we've really served probably about 15,000 people over the last, between us over the last 30 years. And we have learned very valuable information. So that's really what I want to share, that is this information with you. After working with so many people, we have just realized that we can only help so many people one-on-one, and helping people online is a whole new way for us. So I'm going to give you some new features today and new things to take home with you. And so I hope you have a pen and a paper. I would love for you to take notes tonight. And this is very valuable. Let's get going. So have anybody ever heard this term, self-directed neuroplasticity? Self-directed neuroplasticity. It's very powerful information, which I explain to you what it is. Also, have you heard the term iatrogenesis? Iatrogenesis. So if you haven't do this, write this word down. It's this funny spelling, I-A-T-R-O-G-E-N-E-S-I-S. It's really, this word is really the single identifying factor to me that we have something very, very wrong in our medical system today. So we have 4 leading causes of death. Heart disease, number 1. And I just want to articulate something here. This is CDC from 2010. It takes them a very long time to compile all this information. Now it turns out that they don't let you isolate a lot of these figures anymore, because it says if you narrowed it down to a certain stage, you could identify certain people. So it's breaking the health code to show you specifically what people are dying of. They're kind of hiding the information now, where they used to make it very public. So this is the latest up-to-date data that they actually had on the CDC. Heart disease, 600,000 people a year. Cancer, right behind it, 600,000 people a year. Chronic lower respiratory and stroke. These are the leading causes of death by named disease. But there's a couple of things that you might not understand. That isn't always the singular factor that kills people, right? A lot of people don't actually die from cancer themselves. A lot of people actually die from the medications that they were on for the cancer, or they died of side effect, or they die of pneumonia when their immune systems get super compromised or weak. So a lot of people are dying that don't die specifically listed from the cancer. So there's a big discrepancy in the numbers there too. 350,000 deaths per year linked to overweight and obesity. A lot of those have to do with diabetes and heart disease. And if you don't know, diabetes is also one of these ones that are rapidly growing. Also, it's diet-caused diet things. So 350,000 deaths linked to overweight and obesity. It is right now that about 30% of our country is technically obese. About 60% of our country is overweight. We are the most obese country in the world. That's one of the only number ones we have left in the United States, actually. And here's one of your scary ones. This is iatrogenic deaths. So if I ask you to write down that word, this is what this word means: 220 to 450,000 deaths from preventable medical errors. That means that they did everything they were supposed to. You were in the hospital, you were under the care of a doctor, but you still died, and you died accidentally. You didn't die from the disease you went in there. You died when they were doing everything else, and they made a mistake, and they killed you. That's what preventable medical errors means. So we have so many people in the hospitals all the time for all different types of illnesses, because we go all the time for every little possible thing, because we're not taking care of ourselves, and we're just expecting the medical system to take care of us when we get sick. Because we're not taking care of ourselves, that they're accidentally killing this many people in the hospitals. Now, that has nothing to do with it. They're not saving a lot of lives. There's a lot of benefits to the medical system. But the problem is there's so many people going to the system right now that it's taxed, and people are dying just even by accident. Lots of them. Good news, though. Good news. 90% of these deaths are preventable by better lifestyle choices. Brian and I we learned this a long time ago when we were really understanding diet, nutrition in a whole new way. We understood that food was super important, right? Like when we were training people, we understood that if they didn't do their diet correctly, that everything else would sort of fall by the wayside. They would never look the way they desired to look if they didn't get their food right. And then understanding that, right? Like so many people were chronically dehydrated. And I ask people all the time, well, how much water are you drinking? How much water are you drinking? Now, water was even more important than the amount of food for people to detoxify or have enough energy. 95% of Americans are walking around with a symptom that they call clumped red blood cells. It means your red blood cells are sticking together instead of delivering oxygen and nutrients like they're supposed to, removing waste. And so people have this huge energy addiction in the United States because they're chronically dehydrated, and they need that stimulant in their blood to help it flow better. However, if they were just better hydrated, the blood would flow better on its own, and they would have more energy. And then air being the single thing you would die without. Most people only breathe enough to stay conscious. The shallow breathing. They breathe harder when they are doing exercise because their body is forcing them. But oxygen is our best disease fighter. It's our best thing in our body that we have. We are mostly made up of oxygen, actually. And oxygen deprivation is linked to so many different types of diseases. Taking in the practice of breathing deeper, longer, breathing exercises helps you mind, your body, your energy, basically everything in your body. But then these are all physical characteristics. And we learned that Brian and I, we could train them, we could get them physically in shape, we could help them with their food, we could help them drink water. But generally speaking, most people failed not because of their food, not because of their water, not because of their breathing, not because of their exercise, but because their mindset was in the wrong place. They had so much struggle going on, stress from work or their home or their relationships, or these limiting beliefs of failing from time and time again, that they just believed that they would fail again. It was their mindset and their consciousness that was controlling their actions way more than they were aware of. And so Brian and I went down a whole new path to study much more information about emotionally triggers that were going on, limiting belief systems, the body language and how it connects and how it articulates what's going on in the emotional side, their language and the way that they're speaking about their lives, and how we understand and how to interact with them based off what belief systems they have coming out of their language. Very simple word choices mean so much. So we started figuring out these new tools to be able to help people, and dramatically, and we found that now if we could help somebody on their mindset, if we could help focus them and point them in the right direction and help them their goals and priorities and breaking those limiting belief systems, that air, water, food, exercise, all that other stuff fell right in line because their head was in the right place. So a little bit about me. this is just, I just like to share a little information so you kind of know who you are. Some of you might already know me, but if this is the first time being introduced to me, my name is Christopher Vanberg. This is, I'll just start with a couple of pictures so you know. Here, me in the top left, that's, I'm speaking at a GMO rally. This is the March Against Monsanto here in Austin. I'm a big advocate for the quality of your food. And I think there's a lot of things that are questionable and people don't know about the quality of food. And so I often speak at the rally. I've spoken the last 2 years. I'll probably speak this year as well. This is the picture in the bottom right in the center left, I should say. That's a picture at the Capitol. There was thousands and thousands of people there, even in the rain, and it was just an incredible year. The picture right above that is sort of my before and after sort of transformation physically. You know, and I will say that physical transformation is good, but my emotional and spiritual transformation was much better. That picture there on the left, my before picture, I had been involved for many years in drugs and partying and man, just everything. My line of my morality of what was going on. And I was so selfish. Every action I took in my life was for others. So even though you can see visibly a physical transformation, my spiritual transformation was so much more dramatic. Now I've lived to serve other people because that's what really brings me pleasure. That's what brings me gratitude about my life. There's nothing I have ever found more rewarding than somebody telling me thank you for changing their life. Or then it goes on and it spreads and extending to their family life. There's a picture with me with James Cameron. He's the one that did the Titanic or Avatar. It was amazing meeting him. Then this is a picture right below that is Brian and I both taught for the Healthy Living for Leaders course at Leadership Austin. This is just the front speaking after one of the events. It was an amazing course. Basically, they teach community leaders they take 50 every year. And we were able to teach the healthy living aspect because, you know, the big mantra there is if you don't take care of yourself, you are less able to serve other people. And so how do you take care of yourself so that you can serve your community better? And what a wonderful group of people that is every year that serves their community. Up in the top right, that's Brian and I speaking in front of Life Austin. It's a pretty big church. They have a congregation of about probably 1,500, 2,000 people. It's one of my favorite churches. If you're into Christian music at all, it's Randy Phillips from Phillips, Craig and Dean. He's amazing. The picture in the bottom right, that's a picture of me. I got in Men's Health magazine last year just as a little spot there about heart health. I thought it was pretty awesome just to be lucky enough to be blessed to be in that in the magazine. So our tagline, maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't, but if you do not make time for your wellness, you will make time for your illness. So let's get into some education today. The genetic lie. Constantly with clients, I hear some very common things, which is we have been convinced now by sort of the medical community. It's kind of what a lot of times the way that they're taught to, but that you are a product of your hereditary, right? Your genes. You are a slave to your genes. And I have to tell you that this is very much a lie. You may not be able to control the hair that's on your head. You might not be able to control the color of your eyes. But most of your body is a product of your thinking. And let me explain. 75 to 85% of your genes are expressionable. They turn on and they turn off. The first time I heard about this was they were taking diabetics and they put them on a vegetarian diet and they tested all their genes and they had all these failing kidney genes or cancer causing genes on, and their cancer prevention genes were all off, thousands of genes in their chains. And sure enough, when they changed and they put them on a 30-day vegan diet, not only were they able to help so many people reverse their diabetes, but when they rechecked their genetic structure, the gene expressions had totally changed. 80% different from where they were before. The physical genes don't change, but the way that the expression is on or off is what matters. That's all that really matters. And that's 75% of your genetic code. Studying this more, I read a book called You Are the Placebo, and they talks about these early prevention genes, early change genes, and they literally can change in seconds, and they control hundreds of other genes, and they can change in seconds with just the difference in your thinking. Your mind controls your body. Your thinking controls and has a physical impact on your body. You know, I talk to people all the time, and you know the two things that are related to every single disease? Stress and inflammation. And stress is such a funny word because it's not physical stress. We're not all walking around with 100-pound backpacks. Stress is a perceived stress from your life. Yet we live in America where generally our lives are with technology and comforts and all these amazing things are so much more comfortable than people in third world countries. Now, who should have more stress? But it's the perception of your stress that matters. It's the way you think about your life that causes stress, and that can be dramatically changed quickly. So it's expressive or recessive. Your thinking, your feeling, your beliefs, your diet, your stress, your environment, these all have an impact on your genetic code. You are way less a percentage, you're way less a product of your hereditary. You don't get me wrong, you are your mother and you are your father, but you are way more the way you think about your life. Your ability to heal and function and act are all based off the way you're thinking, which is so much more expressionable based off just that's science. That's the way it is. So don't believe that you are a failed genetic structure. You are quite capable of healing, especially if you believe that you are capable of it. Self-directed neuroplasticity. I brought this word earlier up. This is the power of thinking. So have you ever learned how to do something new? And sometimes it takes you a little while to learn, but after you do it a couple times or over a few days or after a couple of weeks, you have actually created new neural pathways in your brain to be able to do something. So you actually direct the creation of neurological brain cells in the way that you design, because the way you desire to think, the way you desire to act, the way you feel about things directs the way that your brain grows and functions. So much so that even in a few seconds, you have new brain cells in a new direction that helps you create new neural pathways. That's what the practice of self-directed neuroplasticity is. And a lot of times with people, it's, but how do I break my old habits? How do I break these old pathways that I've created, this familiar way that I have gone so many times before because I have trained my brain that way? Creating a new direction for you within as little as 3 weeks of not applying, not using a neural pathway anyway, they begin to decay and go away. This is science proving the spirituality of nature. So many people have, it's like, oh, how long does it take to create a new habit? 21 days. There's a lot of science before and after that could change the date of it, but it doesn't really matter. 21 days, you create a new habit, a new way. 21 days without a habit, and it can go away completely. It can begin to destroy old habits, but you can direct yourself in new ones. You can be conscious. You know, we talk about this all the time, but this might be your first time listening to me. 95% of your mind is subconscious, okay? So basically, like, you're not controlling your heart rate, you're not controlling your muscle, you're not you're not controlling your immune system, you're not controlling your blood flow, you're not controlling your digestion. All these things are functioning on their own. And so much of your day-to-day life is going on subconsciously that you're not even doing. You're just reacting the way you know to react. You're working off the sort of the familiar way that your body and mind know. So 95% of your actions and your body are directed by your subconscious mind. You are only 5% conscious thought. So this is what we call this the ant and the elephant, because the elephant is what directs you most of the time, And you're not in very much control of that. You're that little ant, conscious mind, trying to control the giant elephant. Now, the elephant goes where he wants to go. And it's very often that it happens sort of unconsciously, is why they call it subconscious. But your conscious mind can take control. You can direct over and over and over again and teach the elephant new ways and new directions to go. You have the power to control your direction. I want to talk about placebo versus nocebo. This is the power of the mind over the body. So many people have heard about this term before, placebo, from drug and medical trials. Not many people, I realize, have heard about nocebo, but let's explain both. A placebo is, let's just use a medical trial as an example. When we discovered that, it's that people were, just by the possibility of belief that they were getting better, we realized it was messing with medical drug trials. So because people just believing that they might get better, they were getting better. And so you didn't know if you had an effective medication or not. That's where that old original term of snake oil came around, right? That's why people believed in witch doctors and voodoo, because the power and belief that somebody was either helping you or cursing you, the belief in it could make you sick or could make you better. So a placebo is what they call the sugar pill that they give basically to the people in a double-blind study. Some people get the medication, some people do not. Nobody knows until they find out at the end. And basically they have to prove their medication works better than the placebo, which is just the possibility. Now, don't get me wrong. Every one person in that trial is told very much so that there's a good chance you're not getting this. They downplay it as much as possible because they don't want people to have a positive reaction if they're not doing the medication. So they want to downplay it. There's a good chance you're not. There's most likely you're not even getting the medication. And yet some people still get better anyway. That's a placebo. The nocebo is the belief of the negative. So think about this. There's a possibility you might get coughing, sneezing, itchy eyes, irritation, a rash, sexual malfunction, male pattern baldness. You've heard these side effects from drug commercials before. So what happens is now some people, or this is always really, some people that were taking even just the sugar pill started getting the negative side effects because they believed there was a possibility that they were or not. That's incredible. So that means your body not only can get better because of your thinking, but your body can be getting sick because of your thinking. Now, let me just explain something to you. This is not just in your mind. This is not just you thinking that you might feel better, or you're thinking that you might be getting sick. This is actual health, healing, or this is actual sickness. Let me articulate. They did a study in Japan on boys that they took a couple dozen boys that had a high allergen to poison ivy. They took the boys and on their left arm, they rubbed and they told you, don't worry, this is a harmless leaf. There's no harm that will come from this. It's just we just want to make sure that we have a baseline. Then the boys, knowing that they're allergic, then on their left arm, they put the poison ivy, but they said, here's, now we're going to apply the poison ivy and we're going to monitor the reaction and take care of you. What they did was they lied. They put the poison ivy on the right arm and they put the harmless leaf on the left arm. 80% of the boys in the study that were highly allergic to poison ivy had no reaction on their right arm because they believed that the leaf that was touching them was harmless. And yet the same percentage of boys that were highly allergic on their left arm, where they rubbed the poison ivy, where they rubbed just the normal calm leaf, they started to develop a rash. So their body started to have a reaction because they believed they should have had a reaction. Now look, it's not just rashes. They did a study with dentists. They said they had the dentist give pain medication for oral surgery. And they said, hey, this is a new drug on the market. It's very much like morphine. It's very powerful. It's going to knock out your pain. And they gave them a placebo. Yet most of the people in the study immediately had pain relief once they gave it to them. And so what's going on? Are they just believing now that they're not having as much pain? Is it blocking the pain? What's going on? Then a little while later, they gave them actually morphine blockers. So they injected them with morphine blockers saying, okay, now that this is over, we're going to give you this and it's going to remove the pain medication, blocking medication. And sure enough, the blocking receptors go in, and all of a sudden, all the people that felt pain relief are now feel the pain. They were now experiencing the pain real, and it was hard, it was dramatic. And they never gave them a painkiller, but sure enough, the painkiller remover, the morphine blocker, all of a sudden worked. It's because they believed that they were getting something, that their body produced endorphins and started blocking the pain on its own. And the morphine blocker stopped what the body was doing. So the body actually created the chemistry to help with the pain relief just by believing that they were getting something. Now, look, you don't always have to be tricked. This is a belief that you can take into your own body. You can believe in the power of this stuff, and you can use it for your own good. There's a couple of books I would highly, highly encourage reading. The Power of Belief, The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton. There's also You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Listen, death by diagnosis, I mean, it's just, there have been people. There was a guy I read about. He goes in and they're doing a drug trial at his, a cancer drug trial at his hospital. And he can't get into the drug trial. It had already started, but he begged and begged and begged. He goes, look, I'm failing. I'm dying. I really require this. The doctor got him the cancer treatment. Immediately he started getting better. He came back a couple of weeks later. His test results were better. The tumors were much smaller. He amazingly felt better. But then an article comes out in the paper like 2 weeks after that. And it turns out that drug trial was nothing but a placebo. It was basically sugar and salt water. Nothing ever happened. All the trials bombed. He read it and immediately he got sick again. Goes back to the hospital. He's like, oh man, his cancer had grown again. He came right back. I mean, immediately came back when he read this article. The doctor questioning, realizing that he got a bum drug, but then got better later, and then read in the paper, the doctor knew about the power of placebo, and he knew that his patient was only making himself worse. So he comes back and he tells the patient, don't worry, I've got another drug. It's twice as strong. He gives it to him, and guy thinks he's going to get better. He gets better. He goes home. He feels a lot better again. Just by the power of belief, right? And there's tons of stories. I can't tell. I mean, there's people that have healed spinal columns, cured cancer, and we don't even study the possibility of helping people this way, because in Western medicine, it is considered because it's perceived deception. Instead of us helping people believe that they can get better, we're not allowed to. They just view it as, oh, well, we're tricking to them. We're lying to them because they really, because we believe in the United States that we must treat it with chemistry. That's our only way, right? It's why they call it practicing medicine, because if it doesn't have a medicine, they don't know what to do. And so the practice of placebo, the practice of believing, is something that we're going to have to take on ourselves, just like we've got to take health under control. This is a quote from The Biology of Belief. The science of signal transduction focuses upon biochemical pathways by which cells respond to environmental cues. Environmental signals engage cytoplasmic processes and can alter gene expression and thereby control cell fate, influence cell movement, control cell survival, or even sentence a cell to death. Signal transduction science recognizes that the fate and behavior of an organism is directly linked to the perception of its environment. In simple terms, the character of our life is based upon how we perceive it. Good or bad, optimistic or pessimistic, either way, you're right. Self-directed neuroplasticity, I said 95%, whatever. Subconscious. I really believe 95% is subconscious, but it's all an estimate anyway. Ant versus element, creating new pathways, destroying old pathways, body language. So when Brian and I coach clients, And this was first explained to us many years ago and when we first experienced it. But you have to understand, if you now believe that your thinking controls your body and you're incapable of the health of your own body, then also all of your emotional states can reflect in body language, right? So if you are constipated, it's possibly you have emotional withholding and that stress is causing the constipation. It's possible that if your heart hurts, you're having trouble accepting love. It's possible that if your throat hurts, you're struggling to voice your opinion because your mind has power over the body, and the signals in your body can also mean things emotionally. In fact, they generally always do. These are the steps, okay? Thoughts. You have 50 to 80,000 thoughts a day. Are they positive? Are they negative? Do you go down rat holes where you start on a negative train of thought and all of a sudden it keeps ramping, going out on and on and on, and you, oh, but what if this happened? Oh man, then this would happen. Oh, this would happen too. Oh man, my life is so messed up. Oh, what's going on? Or are they positive? You know what, I can do this. Maybe that'll help me do this. Oh, that would be amazing if I could do this, this, and this. Because our thoughts are our feelings. Whatever the way we think about constantly, all of a sudden, then we have an emotional reaction. And depending on the strength of that emotional reaction, the feeling towards that thing, all of a sudden that guides our actions. So first we have to control our thoughts, because that helps us direct our feelings in the course that we want to take, and then our actions follow suit. Let me explain, because all the time I have clients that, sometimes their biggest struggle is their relationships at home. And based off, our history, we have trained our subconscious a certain way, right? So let's say you struggled in a relationship before where you had a verbally abusive, cheating spouse. And you left that relationship finally after lots of abuse, and now you found that you found somebody that you believe is a much better person, right? And now that person doesn't call you back for a couple hours. They're missing. Where are they? What are they doing? What are your thoughts? Are you just worried about their health? Are you wondering if they're cheating on you? Are you thinking that they're lying to you about where they went? Are you wondering because of your subconscious mind starts running away with you? It's been trained. You've learned behavior, and you're now taking that into your current relationship from experiences that you have. Do you know that that's fixable, correctable? A higher choice can be made. You can truly forgive that person that caused you those wrongs, so much so that eventually that you can love that action that happened because it's just something that happened in the past, and it not take that emotional stuff into your future relationships. The same things that happens in business, right? You can have a situation at work where you had a boss that was sexist and you were struggling because well, he just downplayed the importance of women, gave you tasks to do, never gave you credit for anything. Then you start a new job at another company. You have another male boss and you're not sure, but he's been having meetings with other people and not including you. And maybe your thoughts are, this guy's probably like the last guy. Then all of a sudden, maybe you take other actions or you start treating him differently because of your past relationships at your work that you are now taking out on other people, even though it had nothing to do with them. Your assumptions based off your thoughts and your experiences direct your actions. So listen to me. One of the things that we love to do is help people through their language. Whether it's your relationships in your business or your health, these negative thought patterns that you have, we help you catch those negative thought patterns, bring them back, and remind yourself of who you really are. Remember the positive. You can look at any situation in life and there can be a positive and a negative side. And I'll tell you, I firmly believe that the more enlightened in a way that you are, the more positive you can view every aspect of life. You can love everything. And it doesn't mean that you surround yourself with everything. It doesn't mean that you are engaged in things that are negative or people that are negative. It means that you understand life and that not everything is a direct impact of you. You know, if you've ever read that book, there's the book, The Four Agreements. It's just never take anything personally. Recognize that if somebody has negative actions towards you, it's something going on inside of them. It has nothing to do with you. So we teach you to control your thoughts. Grab those negative thought patterns as they start taking off and reel them in. A great place to start is affirmations. Repeat affirmations about who you truly are. I am. And believe and move forward and control your thoughts in a positive way. That'll change your feelings. And that will change your actions. Day in and day out changes dramatically the course of your life. Imagine yourself like a bullet out of a gun. If you can just increase the trajectory in a positive direction, a little higher, just a few degrees, you'll travel miles instead of yards. You travel so much farther. Science or spirituality is something I get all the time. And let me explain, like, science doesn't disprove spirituality, just like spirituality doesn't disprove science. In fact, the more I understand science, the greater I really truly understand our spiritual nature. Because there's so much amazing things in science. Now look, maybe it disagrees with the Bible, but I'm not here to teach the Bible to you. I'm here to talk to us about our spiritual being. Because we are consciously thinking about our lives every day. And there's a combination of science and spirituality that combines to be an amazing human individual. Getting your language, your body language, and helping you remove all the stress and fear, anxiety. All of that is your spiritual nature. And then physically helping you with, that's what we do on the nutrition side, and teach your body to have the healthiest body, which also has an emotional impact, to help you be the highest version of yourself. Symptoms. It's so many symptoms that we have. There's so many diseases that we have that we don't know the cause. So many of them could just be based in our mind. So look, I invite you now. We have a new series starting. It actually starts next Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time. If you can't actually make this series, they will be recorded. We're going to be going over breaking limiting belief systems. Listen, we are all under different belief systems because of times we have failed or been hurt or limitation, codependence. What are they? Identifying. How do we help you identifying the belief systems that you're stuck under and break them and move forward in a whole new way? Goals and priorities. Another excuse that we constantly hear. I don't have time. Let me tell you, I'll just tell you how to fix that right now. You define your priorities first and foremost. Brian and I, we defined these a long time ago, and we put them on our work shirts. It says God, family, health, and business in that order. Always have time for God because God comes first in our lives. Family, always have time for family and the things that our family requires because they are a priority in our lives. Then our own health, because we can't take care of others. We can't serve others if we're not taking care of ourselves first. It's like when you're on an airplane flying along and they tell you, or you're about to take off and they say, put your air mask on before helping others. If you don't help yourself first, you can't help anybody else around you. And then business, God, family, health, and business, because it is always making time for making money. And everything else falls at the wayside. So if you reprioritize your life, you structure your life around your priorities, you build goals around your priorities, time manages itself. You plug in the stuff you have time for, the rest is filler. The power of affirmations. When you understand the breaking limiting belief systems, when you understand these struggles and these negative thought patterns you have, what are the words that you can say to reaffirm and remember who you truly are, taking control of your life? Changing your language. I'll just give you some very simple things. People say all the time words like, I want this. You know, in the Bible, I'm not here to quote the Bible to you, but thou shalt not want. Because want is a state of lack. It's a state of lack. That means you don't have, you won't be happy until you do have. Which means you'll never be happy because that little thing, that material or person, place, or thing is never going to truly make you happy. Happiness comes from within. It's a prioritized thing from within. It generally comes around the gratitude of your life, being thankful for what you do have. So stop with the wants. Do you require something? Are you choosing to have something? Another one is need. I need to do this. Need has got such a negative connotation. It's also a state of lack. Needing to do something or hard work ahead of me. Don't hard work yourself and need yourself to death. Cancel. Choose what you desire. I choose to do this today. I'm excited about it. I get to do this today because that changes your subconscious thinking. Your mind, body, and spirit, get it all in a line. And being aware of self-sabotage and turning that into your success is a huge deal. It has a lot to do with your belief systems. It has a lot to do with negative thinking. It has a lot to do with just not believing what is possible. This is a couple of things I got from David Wolf. And this is really truly what I believe. Mind training is the medicine of the future. If we can train your mind in the right way, you will have no need for medicine. 12 symptoms of somebody that's waking up. And a tendency to let things happen rather than make them happen. Frequent attacks of smiling. I think we could all use a little bit of that. The feelings of being connected with others in nature. Frequent, overwhelming episodes of appreciation. Remember, gratitude is the single greatest characteristic of a happy person. Frequent, a tendency to think and act spontaneously rather than from fears based on past experience. Remember, if we haven't forgiven and moved past our past and truly love it, the people, places, and things that have hurt us, then we're going to respond subconsciously to negatively to those emotional traumas that have happened in the past. And we're going to bring those into our current relationships or current business situations or current health. An unmistakable ability to enjoy each moment. A loss of the ability to worry. I think everybody could use a little of that. A loss of interest in conflict. There's no requirement to win everything. A loss of interest in interpreting the actions of others. A loss of interest in judging others or judging ourselves. Sometimes the person in our past we have to forgive is ourselves. Gaining the ability to love without expecting anything. Here's a little testimonial from one of Brian's clients. I think it's good to hear because it really talks about the reduction of medications. Oops. Get that play real quick.
Hi, my name is Violet. I choose to take a few minutes and talk to you about my experience with reaching out to Brian. About 6 months ago, I contacted Brian. I just had some questions about nutrition, different things I could change up just to start feeling better. And we also talked about different medications I was on at the time. He mentioned foods that specifically could do the same thing as what the medications were doing, except naturally. And so along with that and, the other list of things that, he said, to try, I started doing that immediately. And after about a month, I started to wean myself off of one of my medications. And then after I got off that one, I started weaning myself off another medication. And after 3 months, I had gotten off of 5 medications. Some of these medications I was on for 30 years, some I was on for 15 years, and some I was on for years. And so these were things that I thought I was going to have to take for the rest of my life. Before that conversation with Brian, I didn't even realize that there was another option. And it's been 6 months since, I talked to him about these, specific things, and 3 months of being completely off medicine. And I really am so happy and thankful and grateful for Brian and for the work that he does, and just the love that he has for people, and showing them that they have other options, that they can feel good just with the right information. And I just feel really blessed to have that opportunity to talk to him about those things going on in my health and my diet. And he's so knowledgeable and just really helpful, and offers you this opportunity to change your life. And that's at least the way I look at it, because I look at this more than just oh, I'm off medication. To me, it's a miraculous act, to be able to say I'm free from all of this. And it's also given me such a sense of empowerment too, to know that doctors couldn't do this. Foods from the grocery store did this. So it's kind of wild, but definitely grateful for it. Thank you.
So here's our offer. Normally our 4-week course is $497. We start once again next week on Thursday at 7 p.m. Today we're only offering it for $197. We're very excited about it. It's such powerful information. We're going to walk you through each of these steps so that you have good, easy steps to success. All of them will be recorded, so if you're unable to make it, we will send you the recordings afterwards. You'll get our recipe books. We have a closed membership site for just our clients to ask questions. You'll be able to be membered as a part of that for during the length of the webinar course. And we'll give you 2 of our Jedi Secrets videos. They're normally about $100 a piece, so we'll go ahead and send you some of those too. It's just some more tips and tricks to be successful. And we're very powerful about that. I'm very excited about that. I just want to let you know that, look, once again, Brian and I have worked with over 13,000 people. It's really probably over 15,000 people now. We just, in 2014, Brian and I spent, I think we put the numbers together, we spent about $120,000 in coaches just for ourselves. These were relationship coaches, nutrition coaches, marketing coaches, because we believe in the power of learning from experts that have done it before. And that's what we want to encourage you to do. We want to teach you the tricks and the secrets that of time and time again have proven themselves out, because we have worked how to work with so many clients in the past, and there's so much amazing stuff to be learned through that. So look, if you are following on the Think Great Nutrition site, it was $197. I think it's still being offered for $194, at least for this evening. Please take advantage of that right now. We would love to have you. I'm excited. I'm glad you tuned in tonight. I'm glad that you have registered to receive information from us. We will be sharing more, but I can't encourage you enough to sign up, join us, and look, we love you, and we love all of our clients, and we love to share this information with you. And listen, if you don't make time for your wellness, you will make time for your illness. Be preventative. It's all about the way you think. It will change the rest of your life. It's life-changing information. Thank you very much. Have a great night. Love you very much.